Welcome to the Building Savages podcast.
New favorite fitness podcast.
I'm your boy Terrence, aka Building Beast.
I'm Evan Perez, aka EP.
On this podcast, we talk to our fellow coaches, athletes, and everyday gym goers about health, fitness, business, entrepreneurship, self growth, and so much more. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, or
We'll find you and make you smash the subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed today's topic.
It's 2024. Evan, I know you got some big goals on your year this year. Won't you share a couple of them with us?
So one of my goals is to travel a lot more. Which I just went to Colorado for a bachelor party trip. I've been to Colorado and Denver, but I haven't been snowboarding. And let me tell you, son, if I don't see another snowboard for 31 years, it is way too fucking soon. I am cool, never snowboarding again. I've never been so tired in my life. But to segue just a little bit, so travel a little bit more is one of my things. Um, really optimize the gym in a way that kind of allows me to have more freedom. We were talking a little bit before about like getting back into jiu-jitsu, salsa class, and stuff like that. I really want to get back into it this year, and I don't want to wait till next year. So really hone in on optimizing our systems and our platform and our online stuff. Um, Another thing is getting to another High Rocks and trying to get a little bit better. Like hopefully I can get down to like an hour 15, an hour 30. Um, the last thing for me is learning Spanish. Like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know Spanish. Don't be judging me and don't be looking at me weird. I don't, and I got a Spanish tutor and I'm gonna fucking learn. But those are my goals. What are yours? What are some of your things that you got going on this year?
So around the early portion of this year, I actually sat down and just kind of like listed out goals for myself in like categories.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like fitness goals, financial goals, business goals, and like personal goals. So I'll share a couple of them with us now. And I do this every year too. Like I like to kind of get a landscape of the year early, and I'm gonna do something a little different this year to where every quarter of the year I kind of want to revisit to see how closer I've gotten to some of these goals. Because some of them
Nice.
being shorter, some of them being longer. Like one of my goals this year is a kettlebell swing, the 202-pound kettlebell for 20 plus reps.
Ooh,
So
straight.
straight, yeah, no breaks. So I actually kind of tested that a little bit on Saturday, and I got like a good 10. Got a good 10 with good technique before I felt like anything was gonna start crashing down.
Mm.
Um, this year is probably the first year that I'm prioritizing aerobic fitness and mobility over strength training. So this is gonna be interesting for me.
Okay.
So the way my routine looks like is I've been boxing multiple times a week. That's just something I've been leaning into a lot more. Just I've been enjoying it, so I'm just kind of changing my training and just kind of pushing more in that direction. And I've just been doing a lot more aerobic work.
I
Being
love
that I
it.
have such a good strength foundation, like I have the base that I want, so I'm kind of leaning into that and just starting to move in other areas where it's just like speed, agility work, power work, aerobic work, and just being more durable and just functional and moving better and feeling less pain throughout the year.
Okay.
Um, I put some financial numbers in my head that I want to reach this year. I want to sit and talk with my financial advisor about that just to make sure we're on the right plan.
I
I
love
paid
it.
off my car literally just like a couple days ago. It's been
Ooh, that's
five
big time.
years since I've been paying that car note, so that saves some money in my pocket every month that I can start putting it aside and saving for some other things. So I'm
Love
already seeing like little gains or just little moves in the direction of things that I kind of planted the seed for, that I
it.
want to let the seed just kind of grow into for the rest of this year.
Love that. Yeah, I think another one for me is getting out of credit card debt. I'm like a couple
Yeah.
thousand out and like I'm like right there. But once I get out of that, bro, fucking burden lifted off. So trust me, I get the car note thing.
And I
But
think this is important to highlight these things because roughly around this time of the year, a lot of people start to create their resolutions or around like that later end of like December. And I felt like at one point in my life, I was just kind of like, oh, resolutioners, yada, yada, kind of giving it like a negative connotation to it, where it's just like it's just setting goals at the end of the day. Like it's not that deep. I
Exactly.
think some people try to buzzkill people so much for having resolutions. Well, why do you have to start to the new year or this and that, yada yada? It's like just kind of let people's process be whatever their process is, right? So if that counts for somebody to start there, then in the new year, if that counts for somebody to start there is a little bit in November before the new year hits. I think what's more important is just highlighting that you have something that you're trying to push forward to, and how do you create a system to make sure that you're continuing to move along whatever goals that you plan for yourself, opposed to just
Exactly.
trying to like shut people down on when they want to create these goals for themselves.
Exactly. Not only that, it's like creating the systems is super important because like average, like people usually like back out of their fucking resolutions like January or like mid-February. So
Yeah.
I think it's like really helpful if we can kind of like give some tips and tricks to like figure out like how to continue and succeed in their in people's New Year's resolutions, because I feel like it's such a struggle and it happens every year. Everybody has this insanity complex where like no matter what, they'll get to January, they're on point, and then all of a sudden they'll burn out and they can't do it anymore. So what are some kind of like insights that you can give that can help somebody out?
So I'll use me for example. Just I think it's important that you create some type of accountability system.
Hmm.
Now, whether that's something that you set in place for yourself, whether that's something that you kind of create, and let's say accountability partners, that's something that some people like to use to kind of help them stay on track. Like for some people that want to hit the gym, sometimes they have like a friend or a family member, and it's kind of like their fitness buddy. So they kind of message each other to be like, "Hey, did you do your workout today? Did you get your meals in today?" Or whatever that is, that person or that system that kind of allows you to see that you're moving on track to whatever your goal is. I think is very important. So, like, well, part of my accountability system is like what I said, that I want to revisit every quarter of the year to see if I'm doing things that's aligned with what I'm trying to achieve. And I
Yeah.
think it's very easy to kind of forget what you have planned for yourself. As stupid as that might sound, but especially if you have so many things that you want to achieve, sometimes once the year just kind of starts going and you're not really remembering the why, or you're not really kind of like remembering a lot of the things that you planned out for yourself, you just kind of let the year start moving on its own, and then you just kind of start reacting to however the year is starting to spin you around, instead of kind of being proactive to things that you might have put in your brain that you really want to achieve for yourself. So I think it's very important to just kind of continuing to revisit some of these goals that you set for yourself.
Yeah. I think that's very important. I think people need to have a visual aid if it's like putting sticky notes on your fucking on your bathroom window or mirror or whatever like that. Writing it down in your notes and always looking at it, writing it down in your calendar. It's always good to visualize it because I think a lot of people are more visual creatures. So I think a lot of that
Yeah.
times like people like forget shit if they don't actually visually see it or they're constantly reminded about it. So I think it's very important. For me, I think it's a like at least two things. So I think being or understanding the importance of consistency, and that consistency doesn't need to be 100% all the time. I think people need to realize it's more about the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you're on your game, and then 20%. I saw this cute girl on Instagram kind of explain it this way, and I think it's a really easy way to kind of like note this. Um, when you brush your teeth, you have when you forget to brush your teeth, you have three things go that can happen. One, the next day, you just brush your teeth, act like it never fucking happened. Okay, you brush your teeth and you move on with your life. Number two, you feel so guilty that you brush your teeth three, four, five times the next day because you feel like a piece of shit. Option three is you never brush your teeth again. That's just your life. Your breath stinks for the rest of your life. If you picked option two or three, you're fucked up and you have no idea what's going on. Option one is obviously you go ahead and you brush your teeth the next time you have the opportunity and you move on with your life. So people need to understand that that's how consistency goes for their fitness. If you forget to work out or you don't have time to work out, there's always the next day. if you binged one night or you went out with your boys or you went out with your girlfriends and you drank like a fucking fish and you're hungover as shit and you need a day or two, take the day or two. The problem is that you guys tend to either feel super guilty and double up and burn yourself out, or you guys tend to um fail and then be like, this isn't for me. I can't do it anymore because I
Yeah.
can't be consistent. So you guys have to be okay with being inconsistent to the point that it's not perfect. Nothing's gonna be perfect. Like we both are in the gym all the time. You think that we work out every day? Man, I've been at the gym since 5:30 in the morning. Like I had lunch and I worked out. I did not want to work out today. Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't mean that like I have more I'm mentally stronger than you guys. It's just part of my plan. Like I understand that I need to be consistent with it. So being okay with that. Number two is I think the first step is understanding how important recovery is, and recovery starts with your nutrition and your sleep.
Can I
I'm
go
not
back
saying
to the consistency point really quick
yes,
before I
go.
get that
Hit
point?
it. Hit it.
So, because I like where you're going with that, but one thing I wanted to say about consistency is I think a lot of people look at consistency as doing something every day at 100%.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
I think consistency looks more at like literally just not stopping. And I have this conversation sometimes like I practice my Spanish as well. I do Duolingo. Sometimes I might just do a quick 2-minute lesson. Maybe
Yeah,
my day is crazy or I just don't have the mental capacity to go too crazy on my Duolingo, so I might do a 2-minute session. There's another day where I might go 15 to 20 minutes into it. But I know one thing that happens every single day is that I make sure I get one lesson in.
exactly.
And I think that's how any goal should kind of look at that matter. Is just that consistency is a simple fact of not stopping. So you just kind of take what the day is for what the day is. Sometimes every
Yeah,
day is not meant for you to be the most intense um day of you doing this activity. Some days are just meant for maintenance. Some days are just meant for making sure you just give it attention, and then some days are meant for, hey, I'm really going to push this thing today. So try not to allow yourself to just get frustrated and just completely stop, and just kind of take the days for what they are. What makes consistency um important is the simple fact that you are intentionally giving this thing attention on a daily basis.
exactly. And it doesn't, and like you said, it doesn't have to be so small. I think New Year's resolutioners burn out very quickly by February because they go all out because
Yeah.
they're expected to be at 18 I squatted 315. I should be able to squat 15 at 30 years old, even though I didn't squat 315 or worked out since then.
Yeah.
So giving yourself some grief and giving yourself some relief on that, just start where you're at and kind of progress forward. But a lot of times like we burn out because we're not recovered, we train too hard, we do too much. So even if it's small, but that also comes with the plan and the system that we talked about before. It's you train 3 times a week, maybe you walk the rest of the rest of the 4 times a week. You know what I mean? Just to kind of recover in the middle of the thing, but you're doing something. Even if it's fucking 10 push-ups and then you walk away, it's something better than nothing. You are building the consistency forward and you're progressing throughout that. So that's a key factor. And I think also time management is also very important. Like
Yeah.
understanding time blocking, putting it on your schedule, moving on forward. People are visual creatures like we talked about before. If it's on your schedule, a lot of times like you're not gonna skip it. So put
Yeah.
it on your Google Sheets, put it on your Google Calendar, put it on your fucking your old school, you write it down, put it down. Like those things work. And those things are old school things, even though they sound stupid, they work. Okay, just like lifting always works. It's basic, it's old school, it fucking works.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the things that I will kind of tell people is be okay with consistency and being inconsistent, even if it's fucking or small. Like start very small, but also like plan, schedule. If it's not planned, you're not gonna succeed. I forgot the whole quote,
Especially
but
as you get older, because you get so many responsibilities.
exactly.
Like create the capacity for the things that's important to you. and
Exactly.
and if you don't create the capacity, then it's just going to become an excuse.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
that's something you have to realize, that is this thing that important to you, or are you trying to tell yourself it's that important to you? Like, try to really create the capacity and prioritize the time to make sure you fit this thing in a weekly, monthly, daily, however that looks for you.
Exactly. It's all about your priorities, people. And the way I kind of like trying to explain it, and I haven't explained it that well, but hopefully this kind of gets to some people. You guys are really successful in maybe one thing, like really good at one thing. If you take like iota, like like of that one thing that you're really good at and put it into fitness, like your discipline, your time management skills, your professionalism with that, and you put it into the fitness any way, shape, or form, you guys are going to be successful in that. So trust me, like just take a little iota of what you are already good at into that, and you'll be fucking fine.
You got any closing comments for him?
Man, I just pray and I just hope that you guys stay with it. Let's make 2024 like actually like successful year, and let's stop actually making it a New Year's resolution of the last 10 years of the same exact thing of losing 10 pounds, gaining 10 pounds of muscle. This is the year you do it. Be okay with asking for advice. Be okay with adapting or changing things. And I mean, we're here for you. Let's ask questions. I mean, Building Savages is for savages, but it's also for all the news. It's for everybody, bro. So if you guys need to ask questions, that's what we're here for.
And just to summarize what we spoke about, some key points is prioritize time management, create the capacity for the things that's important to you, um, create a accountability system, so you always want to revisit what are those goals that you set for yourself early on in the year, and then make sure that whatever your system is or whoever your accountability partner is, that you hold yourself to these standards and hold yourself to the alignment of achieving these things that you set out for yourself. Because if you don't continue to remind yourself of these goals, they can easily slip away because life just moves on life terms sometimes. And once you just start reacting to however the world is going to spin you or however this year is going to spin you, it's easy to lose track on the things that you might have set out to be important for you if you don't prioritize it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
Appreciate you guys for listening to another episode. Make sure you like, subscribe to the Building Savages podcast, and stay tuned for more content.
Yes, sir. We back.